Hello everyone, back again with another issue of Club Nintendo UK. This time we've got Volume 1 Issue 2, and as you can see it's the Super Mario 2 cover. We've also got a few games like Zelda in here as well, so we'll take a look. As usual, same as the first issue, we've got the available games out at the moment, which, as I said before, if you watched the other video, that I don't think this is all of them. I think this is just Nintendo's and their favourites that they list. We'll move on to Super Mario Says, and as you can see we've got a much better drawn image now. Somebody must have said something about the terrible drawings in the first issue. But it says, "Welcome again to the latest issue of the Club Nintendo magazine. Thanks for the great letters and comments regarding the first issue, keep them rolling in. Super Mario 2 is our cover review in this issue, which will please all of the Mario fans out there. There's 7 new worlds to explore and a host of new enemies to defeat in the latest of Mario's adventures." And then it goes on to list a few of the other games that are in the issue, like Castlevania, Gradius, Russian Attack. And then there's some full-length features of Rad Racer, Gradius, and a few others. Once again, if you're from the editorial of Club Nintendo, it'd be great if you could get in touch. Listed here we have editor Mark Smith, we have Mario listed as the president, photography by Dennis Hemmings, and then Catalyst Publishing is listed as well. So turning on here, we can move on to the Super Mario Bros. Special, Complete Guide to Worlds 1 and 2, which at the time would have been helpful, but in honesty these are the two easiest worlds in the game, ones that everybody would have mastered before they've probably even read this anyway. But there is quite a lot of info here. It's gone through and tells you block by block exactly what everything is, so it's quite a decent amount of info there. Tells you how to beat Worlds 4, 1 and 2. One thing I did notice here, it says be very careful on Area 3, as a fall will be fatal and could prevent you from reaching a retainer who is held captive at the end of Area 4. Now, I'm sure they put this because you don't actually save Princess until the final world, but I'm sure obviously retain is the wrong word, they would have put that in order for a different word to have gone there, but obviously left it out. So it was a bit of a fail on the QC there, but never mind. Next pages we have Mario 2, and this is, once again, it kind of tells you how to get through the first few worlds, or levels should I say. Gives you a few hints. Welcome to Dreamtime. One evening Mario had a strange dream. He dreamt that he had climbed a long stairway leading to Subcon, the world of dreams. A faint voice explained that the Subcon had been taken over by the evil wart, and that they needed Mario to help them. The last thing that Mario heard before awakening was something about wart-hating vegetables. So everybody knows what Mario 2 is, and I absolutely loved it. It was one of the games I got on release for the n.e.s, and I played it forever. I never even knew about the Doki Doki Panic until many years later, probably within the last 10-12 years to be honest. But I absolutely love this game, and I don't really care that it was a reskin of another game. To me it was Mario, and it will always be Mario. To be honest, I've seen Doki Doki, and there are enough differences in it for it to be a different game. So it's not as if they literally just took, I do believe the last 2 levels were added in World 8, or was it 7? World 7 I think was added in, the last 2 levels. They aren't actually in Doki Doki. So, but yeah, a good game. Moving on, we have Castlevania next. The scenario: the Count has once more been resurrected and is preparing to bring evil and great fear to Earth. As the brave hero of this adventure, You must find the Count in his overbearing castle and destroy him before he becomes too powerful. Dare you take up the quest and enter the castle. And then here it pretty much explains a few hints and tips for levels 1 to 3, 4 to 6, and tells you a bit about the enemies. Castlevania was a game that I'd had played a few times, but I could never get into it. It just wasn't my type of game at all. And when I was going to school and talking about games and people would always talk about Castlevania, I'd always get funny looks for saying it was crap. But it was just my opinion. Maybe one day I would sit down and play it and would enjoy it, but the controls were a bit stiff for me. It was as if like almost unresponsive. Like going up and down the stairs just irritated me. There's just things like that that put me off. But yeah, I can see why a lot of people liked it, but not for me. Now here we move on to a game that I did love, Rad Racer. I played this forever, and to be honest I don't think I ever finished it. I think I did get to level 4. I don't think I ever completed it though, and I tried and tried and tried and tried. It probably took me about a year to get off level 1. But yeah, I was very young then. I probably completed it in like 10 minutes now, the whole game. But we'll move on. Become a real Rad Racer. Nintendo's Rad Racer is really radical. Whether you're racing a 328 twin turbo or an F1 speed machine, driving along the San Francisco highway at night or Athens by day, or playing in 3D or regular mode, you're in for the race of your life. So start your engines and get ready to roll. And that is worth noting that Rad Racer was also a 3D game. Now we're talking back the old days when 3D was green and red glasses and it was terrible. But that was all we had and it was amazing. But to be honest, I never really played it in 3D. I did, but it was just irritating. It wasn't the experience you were told you were going to get. But I mean, it was interesting, but I don't think it was that much of a hit considering it was never put really in any other games again. But yeah, a quality game, and still quite a cheap game I do believe. I think you can get a box copy for like £10 to £15. So if you do like racing games, you're not expecting too much, then it is definitely worth picking up a copy of Rad Racer. Here we move on to the tips and tricks section, and the first bit is heavily based around Zelda, which it just basically tells you that Nintendo's exciting adventure game The Legend of Zelda is already causing a few problems with many n.e.s owners. The Triforce Guardians seem to be the main problem. So with a little help from the hero Link, here's how to defeat the monsters in levels 1 to 6. And then that's pretty much just it tells you, which is, you know, chucking bombs in the Dodongo's mouth and things like that. Things that obviously everybody already knows by now. But at the time, I dare say they were very helpful. Mario Brothers, this is an interesting one that might be overlooked today, and maybe a lot of people won't be aware of. But to continue where excuse me, to continue where you left off in Super Mario Brothers, press the start button while holding down the A button on the title screen. You'll start at the beginning of the world in which you died, although only with 3 Marios and 0 coins. Now, I think I did know that when I was younger, but Mario was never really a hard game for me to complete anyway. I could do it on, 3 lives, no problem. But it is an interesting one, as I've said, that a lot of people may not know. The Gradius cheat, who doesn't know the Gradius cheat? It's even called, well, the Konami code, as it will be named now. But basically, if you had Gradius or Life Force or anything, it was, the Gradius cheat. Rad Racer, another continued cheat, the same as Mario, which could have possibly, oh no, I was just about to say it could have possibly been a Nintendo thing, but then I've just noticed that it's actually Square that made Rad Racer. I never actually knew that. I thought it was a Nintendo developed game. I learnt myself something there. We'll move on. More tips and tricks with Punch-Out, and BJ Davis from St Helens in Merseyside considers himself a real Mike Tyson Punch-Out, and he's basically supplied the code to Mr. Super Macho Man, which is the guy before Mike Tyson. And we got Mario 2. It's not really, doesn't really tell you anything, it just tells you to throw the potions down to look for secret passages. Kid Icarus is a game I've never actually played. I have played it but never sat down and had a good go of it. The traders in Kid Icarus can be pretty expensive, so here's a way to try and make them lower the prices. When you enter one of the traders' rooms, press A and B simultaneously on the second pad. If you're lucky, he'll lower his prices. Sometimes he might get angry and raise them instead. And then we got a guy called Gareth Richards from Clwyd in Wales. I sent in some info on how to beat some of the enemies in Kung Fu. And once again, if you are watching this and you are any of the people who have written in these things, the mailbags or the cheats or anything, please get in touch, leave a comment down below. I do, however, suspect that they're all fake and that none of the people are actual real people, or they all worked for Club Nintendo, as we'll see in the mailbag, which are usually pretty much just adverts. Super Mario Bros. Rules OK. Dear editor, I recently reviewed your splendid issue of the Club Nintendo magazine and I thought that it was really great. I want to congratulate you on your Super Mario Bros. Game which I completed last month. It must be one of the most addictive games out. Keep up the great work. Jeff Ogilvy, Tyne&Ware. Well done, Jeff, on completing Super Mario Bros. Now how about Super Mario 2? Avid Reader writes, Dear Super Mario, I received a deluxe version of the Nintendo Entertainment System at Christmas, and every time I find time to play on it, I find myself captured for hours on end playing the relatively small library of games I have at the moment. However, the price I pay for so many hours of enjoyment is very satisfactory. I sometimes to the point of neglecting my homework. Basically, I am writing in support of your magazine, and I am very impressed and pleased that there is now a regular release scheduled solely for the purpose of promoting the n.e.s. and the fantastic world around it. I have no doubt that you will, but please keep up these very high standards of yours, and then you will have an avid reader and member for life. Stephen Eldred from Swindon. So apparently Stephen Eldred is a schoolchild who writes something as just I don't know the words to use, and I'm an adult. So a very doubt a child wrote that. Game pack differences. Dear Super Mario, I am going on a holiday to America soon and I'm thinking of buying some Nintendo cartridges whilst I am over there. Please could you tell me if the American cartridges will work on my British system? Alan Morgan from Cardiff. In a nutshell, there are several different TV systems throughout the world. Because of this, any Nintendo product that you buy from the US and many other countries will have to be converted, which includes both game packs and n.e.s. consoles. Conversion costs a £30 plus VAT for control deck and £9 plus VAT for each game pack. Also note that only game packs available in the UK as well can be converted, as the PAL version program ROMs will not be available for game packs that have not been released over here. If you require further information, then contact High Tech Electronics from Watford in Herts. Now that is really interesting, because I understand that if you had an n.e.s. n.e.s, you may have been able to have phoned them up and they would have sent you some kind of step down to play over here, and that probably would have cost around £30. But what's confusing me is the £9 to convert a game pack. Now you would think it's just a converter they would send you for every game pack, but this seems as if somebody had a license to fit in a cartridge converter inside the cartridges, like USA did with the early 5 screw games. the cartridges with 5 screws on the back, which contained inside a cartridge converter to convert the European ROM to an NTSC ROM, which I believe was due to a shortage at the time. So it seems as if they were doing this for £9 each. I'm going to have to look into this, and I have to look into High-Tech Electronics Wear, because they clearly had some kind of license with Nintendo, so that's really interesting. We'll move on. Anticipating another Mario. Dear editor, I have just received my copy of Club Nintendo number 1 and wish to air my views about it. It is just what I have been waiting for. Very well thought out and very colourful. The reviews and tips and tricks are really top notch. Especially interesting is the sneak peek section. I am eagerly anticipating the follow-up to the most addictive game ever, Super Mario Bros. For sheer fun and playability, Super Mario Bros. Must have one of the best records, beating every other game or any other console or computer. I'm really looking forward to the next issue. Mr. R. Dodd from Merseyside. Another Super Mario Bros. Fan, sounds like you had better check out the follow-up to Mr. Dodd. Wicked Entertainment, the final one now. Dear Club Nintendo, I just came back from holiday to find your magazine waiting for me, and I think that is wonderful, packed with information about the wickedest form of entertainment. Super Mario 2 in sneak peeks looks every bit as good as the first one, and that's saying something. I also wrote to ask about when we will have a sneak peek of Zelda 2. Stuart McAlpine from Kent. We'll be reviewing Zelda 2, the Adventure Link, later in the year. We then move on to the video shorts, which we've got Gradius up first. The planet Gradius is under attack from the evil Bacterians, and it's up to you to save the people from a terrible fate. You're sent out into space in your sophisticated ship to face the aliens, suddenly feeling very alone. Now, Gradius was a game that I never actually owned. A friend of mine owned it, and because we loved it so much, I decided I'd buy Life Force when that came out, and that was probably the game that just made me fall in love with shoot 'em ups, and I played it forever. It didn't matter if you completed it, you just rolled it round, carried on playing, and completed it again. It never got old, never got boring, and I still love it to this day. I still don't own Gradius. It is a game I am looking for, but every time I find a complete box copy, it seems to just shoot up in price, and it's just unjustifiable. Soccer is a game that I have owned over the years a few times. It comes, and you buy a bundle of games and it comes in it, and you think, yeah, I'll keep that, and then you play it once and then realise that you don't really want it anymore. But it is a really good soccer game, really. It's not great, but it's not bad. Gumshoe, a game that I couldn't stand, to be honest. One of the only other light gun games for the n.e.s available, other than Duck Hunt. And you basically just keep a guy floating in the air, and you shoot balloons, I think. I can't remember. I played it, bloody hell, it's got to be over 25 years since I played it. But I just remember it wasn't great. RC Pro-Am, I actually uploaded some footage of this on the channel not long ago, I believe, a couple of weeks ago, and it's a great game. It's simple, and to be honest, it doesn't matter how many of these games I play, they're all pretty much identical bar the graphics. I just love them all. They all seem to have exactly the same playability to them. Also, I think all these, apart from Gradius, are all really cheap games still. I'd say RC Pro is definitely worth picking up, and Gradius obviously definitely worth picking up. The other two, you could pass them off, but this RC Pro, it's worth looking at if you can get it for like a £5 or something. Russian Attack, I've got a full page sneak peek now. Deep behind enemy lines, dozens of American POWs are being held inside a heavily armed base. You and one of your pals have been selected to infiltrate the base and then destroy it after freeing the captives. In Russian Attack, you move to the right of the screen, killing your enemy soldiers as you go. Normal foot soldiers attack you at first, but you progress through the 6 levels enemies get tougher. Some, such as the pistol and machine gun soldiers, have ranged weapons, whilst the jumping soldiers run at you, following through with a flying kick when they get near. Russian Attack is a game, again, I have played. Never really played in much detail. I think I've seen Angry Video Game Nerd do a long play of this. I'm not sure if it was Mike Matei or actually AVGN, but I'm sure they have some lengthy footage of this up, which is where I've seen most of it. But I did play it as a kid in, let me think, I can't remember what the shop was called. I think it might have been a Curry's, and they had, in the TV department, they had a n.e.s set up with just a bunch of games laying around, and you just walked up and put whatever game you wanted in. I used to just sit there for hours. No one ever told you to get out or anything. And I played it there. But other than that, I've never really played it, I don't think. Yes, it's one I wouldn't mind doing. And moving on, we got Ikari Warriors, which I've played millions of times. It's a very well known game. And extremely difficult. One, again, actually, AVGN has got, I'm not sure if it's a full playthrough, but him and, I think it's Mike Matei, and I can't remember the other guy's name, sorry, but they do a long play of it on multiplayer, which they use the ABBA cheat to continue about 6 million times, which is what everybody needs to do. The game was made extremely difficult, it's unreal. But it's worth taking a look at, and if you do like challenging games, then that's one you want. Gunsmoke, another quite hard game, but another amazing game. I own this, and I don't know what ever happened to it, but I don't have it anymore. It is a game I will get again, but I'm looking for a nice boxed complete copy for a decent price. Because I don't really want it cartridge only, I would like it to go on the shelf. But a wicked game. I think cartridge only it's about £20 at the minute, which isn't really bad, I don't suppose, considering it's a quality game. But it is a bit steep, really. Yeah, prepare to go back to the good old days of the Wild West, to a small gold mining town under attack from bandits. Take control of Billy Bob and bring back law and order. I used to play it for hours and hours and hours on end. In fact, what would be wicked is if they did a remastered version of it. Kept the game exactly the same, and then just revamp the graphics. That would be awesome. In fact, if anybody knows of any similar games, like current gen to Gunsmoke, indie games or anything, please let me know in the comment section down below, because I'd love to check them out. And that seems to bring us to the end, where we've got an advert for the deluxe set with Rob for just $149.95. Back in that day, everything was 95. But yeah, the n.e.s deluxe set is always available. Oh, sorry, the n.e.s deluxe set is available from Nintendo retailers now. I'm not sure when Tandy, we had a small chain called Tandy who had a license to produce their own n.e.s sets, and what they used to do was get the standard box and plaster a sticker on of what game was bundled inside, and they were the only company in Britain that were allowed to do that. That's one interesting bit of info I can say out there to a lot of collectors who collect n.e.s. have no idea of that, and it is something that I will go into more detail in another video if people are interested, because it is quite a big story, and there are quite a lot of extremely rare n.e.s sets out there that people may not even know of. But yeah, that was issue 2, volume 1 of Club Nintendo UK. There is a guy, I've sorry I haven't got my computer next to me at the minute, so I can't look up his name, but he does do Let's Reads of the USA Club Nintendo, which I've watched a few of, and I'm going to have to go back and look to see if there are any differences between the USA ones and the UK ones. So I'm not sure whether they would have just reviewed the same games. I know the Australian ones had a lot of the same reviews in them. Pretty much page for page would have been the same, just with some slight differences. I'm not sure about the American ones, so I'll get a bit of research done on that. But yeah, thanks for watching, and please subscribe if you're interested in watching more, and please leave a comment down below if you have any questions or comments. And thanks for watching, take care, goodbye.